Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you the easiest way to make a repeat pattern for fabric design in Spoonflower. I will start with a vector image in Pixabay, upload that to Repr, and then once I have a design that I like, I'm going to upload that to Spoonflower and create an instant repetitive design that I can print for just me or list for sale. First thing I'm going to do is find a copyright-free vector image on Pixabay and download it to my files. I am choosing a vector image because that will have the sharpest edges once I put it into Repr to make my patterns. And see what I get, and then I want to, instead of do all images, go to that vector. And there's several ones that I could use to choose from. And I did download one earlier, and of course it's not showing up at this moment, so I'll show you that in my Repr when we move over there. So basically you're just going to say if you like this one, you go over to the free download and then you choose which one that you wanted. You can do a vector graphic. I just did a PNG just because, even though this is a vector image, because I didn't need it to edit it. A vector image you will be able to edit if you're doing any other kind of design images. So once you have your image that you like, go over to Repr, and I'm going to start the app. You will need to purchase a subscription to Repr to have full use of the site and create collections. They do provide a 14-day free trial. I'll provide a link in the description. If you purchase, I would receive a small commission, but not enough to get super rich on, so it's just basically kind of a thank you to me while I try to make videos, and Repr is one of my favorite things. That's the only reason I'm an affiliate with it, because I can't get enough of this app. So we're going to start the app, and it takes it a moment to load. So here's the image I had earlier, but what you want to do is you want to start a new collection and upload. I called that one red, white, and blue, and you can call it whatever you want. Maybe I want to call it 4th of July, and then I create the collection, and then it'll ask me what image I want to use. I uploaded this one earlier, so I can choose that one. I also can, if I want, I can go to my image library and I can choose another red, white, and blue image so that I can have different ones while I'm creating. And then I can just go back and forth between the ones that I want to use for the designs that I am trying to do. Now I'm going to walk through the possibilities and find one that I like. And let's see if I can replicate what I've done earlier. In fact, I think I'll just go over to my collection that I did earlier. So if you all collections, I'll go back to this one. I'll open it in Editor. And here is some that I've done, and I've saved. One thing is, when you find something that you like, you can go ahead and save it. You just hit the plus sign and it adds it over here. I've added this one before, but every time that you move this around or change something, it's going to change the design. So you want something a little more offbeat, or whatever, then you just go down there and hit the plus sign. I'm going to go back to this one because the unique thing about this was I wanted to get that whole star to be part of my design. And then I also, you'll notice it has a blue border here. It does not have that over there. But what I did is I go into Effects, and I've chosen the seam border. There's seam border. There's also tile border. Let's decrease this a little bit more. And then you can kind of see the difference, which really, there's no difference. There's not much difference between the seam border and the tile border. It did a little bit more here, and that's because of width is a little bit wider in the tile border. The largest difference between seam border and tile border is in tile, you can make rounded edges. So if you like it more like this, you can just kind of play with those borders a little bit. I didn't want the rounded borders. I just stuck with the seam border to make this. And how you get the border color is you just click on this color button here in the effects. And this blue is actually, if you click on this little eyedropper, you'll get your original design with all the different, so I could make it red if I wanted to, keep it white, but I kind of like the blue just to differentiate a little bit. And click off of that, and then I go back to the pattern. I'm not going to make any more edits to this because I'm just trying to make a quick and easy design. And the easiest thing to do is surface design will give you the whole thing in its repetitive nature. We go to export, and for this to work well, I will need to change it to the tile view to export it, because this is what will work best in Spoonflower for what we're going to do. And you'll see the size of this, I have it in inches. You can do it however you want. If you're more familiar with centimeters, unlike us here in the United States who uses inches still, or if you like the pixels, you can do that. And I can make the size where I want to be. So if the width I wanted it to be is 5.4 there, maybe I wanted it just 5. I can go ahead and change that. I always do DPI 300, and the reason I do that is so that if I decide to do it for like on a print-on-demand product like a t-shirt, it's a better DPI resolution. Also, I download it as a JPEG instead of a PNG. If you want to do PNG because you want the white areas to be transparent, you can do that, but for the most part, I wouldn't want this. I'd want the white because of red, white, and blue design. I wouldn't want, say, the color on a t-shirt to show through. So that's why we'll keep it as a JPEG. So we're going to go ahead and export this. And I already have a folder set up for my red, white, and blue, and here's one that I did earlier. And that says Patriotic 1/2 star, but I'm going to name this one Patriotic Star on Stripes. Save that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to upload it to Spoonflower. We'll go over here. I already got this. I'm already logged in, so I can upload design. Spoonflower, it doesn't cost anything to have an account, which is nice. Now we're going to choose that file. And this one's going to look a little bit different than the other one I did. So agree and continue. And you might notice that it comes up a little bit larger than that 5 inches once it populates here. And it automatically does a regular repeat. But the first thing we're going to do is edit title and search here. Evidently I mistyped and I said stat. So Patriotic Star, I'll just keep it on stripes. This is simple as and then we're going to give the description to the design. Patriotic red, white, and blue design based on the US flag. I always like to put in what it's good for. Great for home decor. Fashion. And you have a lot of characters, and sometimes I come back and edit these to give them more description once I've thought about it. I go, oh, I could call it more things. And then you're going to select your styles. This is going to be, we're going to call it, I call it kind of modern and probably a little bit minimalist. It's not very many colors. It's very simple. It's a novelty being patriotic. Patterns and techniques. There is a stripes. There is no stars. I wish they had a star. I don't know if there's anything else. No. And then the seasons and holidays. We can choose Independence Day, and we can also choose Veterans Day. There's the only 2 of those types of holidays in that list. Color characteristics, I'd say bold and maybe vibrant. And then I can add things like Memorial Day, 4th of July, because Independence Day is 4th of July, but somebody may look for 4th of July instead of Independence Day. Red, white, blue. Patriotic. And summer holidays. Sounds like a good one. Okay, you can only have 13, so it's done. Add to collections. I already have a red, white, and blue set up. I also have a patriotic, so I can add it to both of those collections. And notes, those are just for you. I'm not going to put anything in there right now, and then I'm going to save. Okay, so here's what makes it super easy. You saw that it was a tile. I'm going to go ahead and go into the edit for the fabric. Here's the basic repeat, and you can tell now, remember I was telling you earlier, because I had it at 300 DPI on rubber, the minimum for Spoonflower is 150, so it's going to be a little bit bigger based on dimensions and ratio. It kind of ups it a little bit because the minimum at Spoonflower is 150. So now the width is 10 inches by a little over 7.5. And we can make that smaller if you want the print to be smaller. This is a full yard, what it'll look like on a full yard, so you can tell how big it is. If you want to get a better look, you can go down to a fat quarter. So if somebody ordered a fat quarter, or if you just want to get a fat quarter, what it would be, or if somebody was looking for a swatch, you would have this. So if you want to make sure they have like a full tile on a swatch, you could just decrease that a little bit. Go back to the fat quarter, and maybe I want the fat quarter to have at least 3 of those across. So I want to have it at this almost like 7 by 5.25 size. So I'm going to hit save. I'll take you back out. So it'll reduce that on everything. We're going to go back into edit. And like I said, basic, this is the basic repeat. You didn't have to do anything to make a repeat in any special program. We can go to half brick. It can look that way. We do half drop. It does it more in vertical columns. There's mirror, which will put some of them upside down and make a mirror of everything. And if you do center, that shows you what the actual size is. So if it was at 100%, right now it's at 69%, if we went back up to 100%, and you printed off just 1 yard, that's what it looked like. So if you think you want something to be like almost a full yard, and like you want to make this almost flag size, you'd want to up the size of your image over in Repr and maybe up the DPI a little bit. Let's go back down to that 69. That's where we were at, or 70 is fine. Go that half drop, the half brick, or the basic. So you get to decide on what you want it to look like. And maybe we want that just a little bit smaller anyway to put more on a yard. Oh, that's a fat quarter. Let's go back to the yard and see what it looks like. Yard here. Okay, so that's decent. So like right here, maybe this is what you want a full yard repeat to look like. So now we're at the 70%, so not far from that 69. We'll go back to the fat quarter, make sure that's fine. Go back to the yard, and then we can get a better look at the half brick and the half drop. I kind of like the half brick in this one, so we're going to go ahead and say the half brick is good. Save again. And then you notice all the products, well, except for wallpaper, you have to do wallpaper separately. So that's good. So we can go ahead and go edit the wallpaper. This is how the wallpaper looks here. If you want to do half brick, you can do it that way on there, and you can save. And there you've got that look. So you've got all in half brick. To be able to sell it, I mean, right now you can purchase it for yourself. That's no problem. So if you just want to keep it private, you keep it private that way, and you can buy it for yourself. It says not proofed, so we can't sell it till we proof it. And here's another reason that using Repr is so easy. So we got to start the proofing, and it'll zoom you way out, and you want to gently go back in. And because this was a tile that was a simple, basically rectangle, there is going to be no problems with the actual the actual repeat. It will pretty much be set. There's really nothing here to check other than to see if the image is blurry at all. And because this was a vector with very simple lines, it's going to come across that way. So you're going to say looks good. If you do see an issue, just say I see an issue. That will get you out, and then you can go work on your design and then upload it later. Replace it. There's actually a place up here that says File Options, and you can replace the file. And that's how you would overwrite to the new one once you do any edits to your design. So that's basically it. It's proofed, and then I'm going to mark it for sale because I think it's pretty good. I'll do wallpaper and the fabric, and I'll hit save. And that's basically all you do. That was like just really a few minutes worth of work. If you want to look how that looks, like if we go into the duvet cover, go into buy, and it's an expensive duvet cover, but you can get a look of how that design looks from a distance on a big item. And then it'll give you a close-up, and you can just see how crisp that design is. And then there's again like sort of like a step back. But if you go back and look at the full thing, that looks pretty cool. That's basically it. It is a super easy, super quick way to make a design from any kind of drawing. Now you can make your own drawing in any kind of, and I've talked about that in previous videos. Just make some simple, if I go out here to my collections like this, if I open this in editor, it's going to switch over, and there's some things I did just from a simple drawing I did in, I think it was Photoshop. It was either Photoshop or Inkspace. I can't remember this one. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you in doing this, and one of the effects that you can do is there is a way to kind of make it a little older looking. Can you see this? It's got a little bit of a vintage coloring to it, and that effect is Photo Filter, which is a new effect inside of Repper. So if I turn that off, it takes you back to the white. I can turn it off, I get more of the older look. It's called Twilight. You can tell how much to do. There's also other ones you can flip through. Like this one also kind of looks like a vintage look. That would be a really neat item to use for maybe some vintage looking decorations, and export that. It could just be another version of the one that you did. So I hope you learned something from this and you're ready to make some simple designs using some simple pictures, Repper, and then uploading them to Spoonflower so you can have them for yourself or to sell. Let me know if you have any questions or what you think of this video, and be sure to like. That will let me know that these are videos that you enjoy and like to see more of. So thank you very much, and see you next time.